Jake here for Extreme Terrain, and today I'm taking a look at the Barricade HD Overland drop side step bars fitting 2018 and newer 4-door JL Wranglers. These steps are a great setup for the JL owner who's looking to have it all: protection, accessibility, and style in one package. These are a great side step that works well with the JL style and gives you some nice benefits whether you're dailying your Jeep, building an overlanding rig, or anything in between. Side steps are a pretty ubiquitous modification for a number of reasons. They're usually an easy installation, they make accessing the cabin of your rig very easy, and they can provide you with some more protection as well. Now these ones are a bit unique, and for that reason alone, I already dig them. You get the typical type of drop steps underneath each door with built-in grips. Now there are also additional matching grips on the main section of the bar itself as well, so you'll have plenty of traction even if you've been out in the wet or slippery conditions, no matter which part of this you're stepping on. Now these steps, as you can see, are separate pieces, so if you really need the extra clearance for off-roading or overlanding or something, you can just unbolt them. The steps themselves are pretty open on the back, so you should just be able to reach right on up and access those bolt holes there. And even if you do take the drop steps off, you'll still have the extra traction and space to step up into the cabin of the rig. The main bars have a unique kind of angular style to them, and I think that really works well with the JL's more muscular, upright type of styling. They're a little more modern, angular, and maybe even aggressive than a traditional side step. It gives them a bit of an edge in some ways, both literally and figuratively, versus that traditional side step. These also tuck up real nice and close to the rocker panels, so they're going to afford you plenty of protection from rocks and other obstacles, or even just dings in a parking lot. The bars and steps are constructed from heavy-duty steel plate for strength, and they're finished with a textured black powder coating, meaning that they'll be very resistant to rust and corrosion, and they should be able to take a beating whether you're on the trail or the street for a long time to come. All of your bracketry is also finished in the same type of textured black powder coat too, so this is going to be just as durable as the steps themselves. Pricing for the set comes in at about $550, and that puts them pretty much smack dab in the middle of the category. Now while they aren't as pricey or as fancy as things like a powered step, you're still getting a really solid setup that's going to withstand a lot of abuse and has a cool style attached to it. Installation gets a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and you should expect this to take you about 2 hours to complete. Now these are, again, a totally bolt-on part, so they don't require any additional modifications to complete. Makes it a job that you can very easily tackle yourself at home. And to show you what that process looks like now, let's head on out to the shop.
For this install, you will need an impact, a ratchet, small extension, 16mm swivel socket, 10 and 13mm sockets, 13mm wrench, and a 17mm wrench. What's up guys, today we're going to be installing a set of side steps on our Wrangler, so let's get started. So now we're going to get right to it. We're going to grab our driver's side brackets, which are 3 for each side. Now you will notice when you look at them, they are stamped for their designation. So this is the driver's front bracket, and you'll notice the ear is facing towards the front of the vehicle. The center and rear brackets, the ears will be facing the back of the vehicle, and they will also be stamped for their designation as well. So to get these mounted up, we're going to grab one of our 13mm bolts, a lock washer and flat washer, and go ahead and find our threaded inserts along the underside of our body here that are already pre-opened and ready to go. So we'll go ahead and get our first one in place. We're just going to loosely install these screws for now. So now we're just going to hand tighten our first bolt here, get it in a little ways. Then we're going to grab our 13mm socket and extension on our impact, and we're just going to run this down to where it's kind of snug, not tight at all, so we can still maneuver it around. Okay, see, it still has maneuverability, but it's not sagging or hanging down. And then we can go ahead and do the same thing for our center and rear brackets. And we'll go ahead and run our center mounting bolt in, again with our 13mm on our impact. And as far as slot position goes, we're going to keep them all the way forward, so we'll have the most access to our boards when we go ahead and install those. So now we can move on to our rear bracket. We'll run this one in as well. So next we're going to go ahead and install our support brackets, and these again will be punched and labeled as to their designation. So this is our driver side front bracket. So we're going to slide this with the cutout over our main bracket here. And then we're going to add in our 2-bolt bracket to the front of our pinch weld. Line that up, get that through. Then we're going to install a flat washer on each of our studs. Followed by one of your provided 10mm lock nuts on each stud. Try not to drop them. And then we'll go ahead and do the same thing for our other 2 brackets. So we'll go ahead and set our middle bracket in. Again, we'll install our double stud bracket here. Hold that in place. Get our flat washer. Lock nut installed on each stud. And then we can do the same thing for our rear bracket. So now we're going to connect our support and main bracket on the backside mounting hole there using our provided 16mm bolts, flat washers, and lock nuts. 1 bolt for each bracket, 2 flat washers, and a lock nut. Now again, we're going to leave all this hardware loose for now until we get our side steps on and we can figure out where our adjustments need to be. So we'll do the same thing here for this next one. Again, it's bolt, flat washer, lock nut. Okay, so now we're ready to get our side steps mounted into place, and for that we're going to grab 6 more of our provided 16mm bolts, 2 flat washers for each bolt, and a 16mm lock nut. And then we're going to go ahead and put 2 per bracket, and you have corresponding brackets on your side steps, and we're going to go ahead and get that into place. Now it might be a good idea if you're doing this at home to grab an extra set of hands for this, but these aren't really that heavy, so you can accomplish this just by yourself if you feel confident. But again, safety first always. Never hurts to grab a buddy. Okay, so we'll get our first one in place here. Grab our second flat washer. Followed by our lock nut. Then we'll go ahead and get one loosely in on each bracket, and then we'll come back and install our second ones and start tightening everything down. So now we've got all our hardware in for our side steps themselves, and we're gonna go ahead and begin tightening everything down. And we're gonna start with our 13mm frame mount bolts for our main brackets. So we've got our 13 mil on our impact, and we're gonna run this in. And then we'll do the same thing for the other two brackets. Next, we've got our 10mm socket on our ratchet. We're gonna go ahead and tighten down our two 10mm lock nuts on each of our support brackets that go to the pinch welds. And then we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other two brackets. So the next step in our process is going to be leveling out our side steps and tightening those down. Now, if you are doing this by yourself, it can be kind of a pain to be under the vehicle trying to tighten bolts and use your knee or whatever to try to level it out. So this is when a floor jack comes in very handy if you are doing this solo, and you just get it under the front of your side step here, and then you can just use that as a helper to go ahead and get your side steps nice and level. It'll hold it in place while we go under there and tighten them down. So now we can get under here and tighten down our two main mounting bolts for each bracket. And for that, we're gonna use a 16mm swivel socket on our ratchet and a 17mm wrench for our lock nut, not 16. Now while we're under here too, we're also going to tighten down the main bolt from our support bracket to our main bracket, as well as main bracket to our steps themselves. So now after you get your first bracket all tightened up, it should hold it in place for the next ones, so you can slide your floor jack out of the way so you can easily access your other brackets. We got that one tightened up. We'll move on to our last bracket. So now it's time to install our optional drop-down steps, and to do that we're going to grab two of our triangle-shaped double bolt brackets for each step, and when you come under your side step you'll see two holes spaced out kind of in a triangle facing towards each other. So we're going to slide this bracket into position. We're going to drop these bolts down through the holes here. We'll do the same thing for this side here. We can go ahead and grab our step, and we're going to grab 4 flat washers and 4 13mm lock nuts for each step. Go ahead and get these lined up. Again, you may have to punch out your little gaskets covering your bolt holes on your steps. And we'll go ahead and get a flat washer and lock nut on each of our studs. So now we're going to grab our 13mm wrench and tighten down our lock nuts. Once you have all 4 lock nuts tight on your front step, you can go ahead and repeat the same process on the back step. So now once you've got this all buttoned up on this side, you can go ahead and repeat the same process for your other side. Alrighty guys, that about wraps up our review and install of our Barricade HD Overland drop side step bars for the 2018 and newer Jeep Wrangler JL 4-door. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Wrangler, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.